Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. This is episode 331. And we have started the episode with the traditional wolfie bark. And we are in the snow biome. I kind of forgot how that last episode ended. It was so long ago. It was Friday, but today is Monday, February 24th, 2014. We're gonna grab Wolfie. Gonna clean out the inventory of random things we don't need. And continue west as we do towards the Far Lands in, hello Creeper, in Minecraft Beta 1.7.3. And we're going to try to stay going west in this episode, because we had a little bit of a mix-up last time. I don't know what I was doing. I think... oh, there's another creeper. I got confused when I was illustrating what my voice sounds like when I move my head around the microphone, and I was doing this, and then I came back and was dizzy and started going north for about half a day of Minecraft time. But, yeah, that was funny. That happens sometimes, and it'll be an interesting thing to see. A little bit of a wrong way turn in the overviewer map if we're able to update it for the next milestone, which coming up is going to be Flobathon this Saturday, March 1st. Be there or be square. We're at right now for our Child's Play charity fundraiser. We're at $170,368.66. In this, like I said... oh, I got turned around again! Alright, take it easy, Kurt. In this, yeah, like I said, episode 331. So you can keep donating at farlandsorbust.com. We will continue raising, and hopefully we get a nice spike in donations on Flobathon. And I am going to be having, obviously, much more details about Flobathon. People are wondering when it starts and blah, 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 how long it's going to last. I'm not sure. I haven't set a start time, but I can tell you this Saturday, March 1st, I would like the finale, the F3 moment, when I finally press F3 and we can discover how long we've walked, to be around 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Eastern Time, US time, which would be between 5 and 6 Central Time. That is between 4 and 5 Pacific Time. I say that because previous Flobathons, the F3 moment has generally happened at midnight, my time, just Central Time, and that, while working for me and perhaps the people in the United States, not so great for the people in Europe. And, you know, that's like 4, 5, 6 a.m. for those people in Europe. So I'd like to shift that and say, yes, we will do the F3 moment. So if anything, the most important moment is going to be between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do like an 8-hour live stream, a 10, a 12-hour live stream. Will determine when I need to wake up to start the live stream appropriately. But that I will have more details for you on Wednesday. I will also, it's looking like, I know I said previously, we're going to take it easy and not have any giveaways or contests or craziness like that, but it looks like we might. We might very well have a contest. I'll do a similar thing, like guess the F3 number, so you can enter in a guess as to what the number will be, and then the closest to it will be the winner of this prize. I'm working with somebody who wants to provide a very substantial, awesome little prize that'll make things easy on me in that I don't need to ship it myself, but still details have yet to be, contracts have yet to be signed. No, there's no contracts involved, but, I just need to make absolutely sure their terms and also make sure I have everything set up properly for that. And so yeah, we'll definitely be doing that. So I will have... I'll probably be able to open the entries on Wednesday. Of course, putting all this together, I had a test live stream last Friday. Things seem to have gone well. I've got to kind of set up some appropriate art and miscellaneous stuff. I'm going to switch over the website to, instead of having what it has on the homepage, I'll have a link, an embedded version of the live stream. Also, of course, the link to enter the contest that is looking like it's going to be having. So this week might be a little bit of a slow week for videos, other than Far Lands or Bust. Like I said, we'll get in the normal 3 episodes of Far Lands or Bust. But otherwise, don't look for too much other than this week on my channel, just because I would like to concentrate on setting this up. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a good time. But like I said, keeping it a little bit more relaxed than, say, your Mindcrack marathon was, the 48-hour thing, which had a lot of logistics going in behind it. I mean, I suppose I said, you know, we're not going to have a Far Lands or Bust fan server. You know, you can use, if you're looking for something to do while watching Flobathon, you can check out the Play Mindcrack server, you know, the us.playmindcrack.com, and now there is EU for the European servers, playmindcrack.com. Those can be the temporary, I suppose. For the weekend, I will be plugging the Play Mindcrack servers if Farlanders would like to get together on a multiplayer server to play some survival games, or just maybe hang out in the lobbies or the towns or the past Mindcrack worlds. So yeah, let's go with that. Like I said, the test stream was a success. Live streamed for about an hour. BOO and Generic B were wrapping up a live stream, so they sent over their viewers, which was fun. And then when I finished, I believe CoStar and Nvidia started live streaming. So I sent, I suppose that's a thing people are doing now on Twitch, is raids. Or when one stream ends, they raid another stream. Not sure how much, you know, things tend to get a little bit spammy in the chat when that happens, but yeah. Did that, so I think that worked out. I got my settings. I gotta make some sort of, I'm gonna, of course, find a way to include the Child's Play charity donation counter. And yeah, and I actually, previous iterations and ideas, I kind of was thinking, well, maybe I should start streaming and say, oh, when we raise $200,000, that's when I'll press F3. But that could go either way. Either that could happen really soon, and like the live stream will be a half-hour long, or people will withhold their donations because they want the live stream to last as long as possible. So I feel like saying, yes, the F3 moment will happen between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time will, you know, be a definite scheduled thing. That way people don't miss it. Also, if it's, you know, random or anything like that, people will be sure to see that. And I know that's still a little bit late for Europe. That might be midnight or beyond for some people in Europe, but I'm doing my best here to hopefully include everybody. At least it's not 4, 5, 6 a.m. for you guys. So yeah, fun times. Really looking forward to it. Do a little bit of a celebratory thing here, and yeah. Flobathon, March 1st, this Saturday. Twitch.tv/KurtJMac, or like I said, I'll be including the stream on farlandsorbust.com, the homepage. Woo! What is it? The sun's kind of going down. There is, let me talk about this. I got a little bit more. I know I talked about technology news or whatever I was saying before, but there's very interesting news. As you know, I've talked at length about Comcast, the internet, YouTube, net neutrality. Last time I talked about, you know, Facebook purchasing WhatsApp or whatever, but this time the big news, pretty significant news, is that Netflix has reached an agreement, what they're calling a mutually beneficial partnership, in that Netflix has now arranged for direct peering with the Comcast network. For those of you who are not quite sure how the internet works, it's not like go to netflix.com and then your computer directly connects to the Netflix servers and you're all set. You know, it bounces around multiple times, sometimes over a dozen bounces to different servers, and you know, different content providers. You go through Comcast system, and then you bounce to this or that or the other. It used to be that Netflix still does, but Netflix has to pay because of all the bandwidth. They have to pay a dedicated service, and they use a company called who do they use? Cogent or Level 3 to provide their kind of bandwidth. They're kind of the middle person between the Netflix servers, which are kind of in the Amazon hosting setup cloud thing, between them and then the ISP level. And let me. Whoa, am I in this bed? Oh, I was like halfway in that bed before. Some strange things happening as we're walking to the far lands. But let's continue talking about Comcast Netflix in the morning. And a net neutralityness. Ow, my legs. Ooh. Never really watched the sunrise. Woof. Just kind of noticing that. It is a little bit of, you get to that orange haze. We tend to just walk up and keep walking. Walk up, wake up, and keep walking. Yay, sunrise. But yeah, that's generally how it goes. And there was a big hubbubaloo in the past where Comcast was wanting to charge these middle network providers, the Level 3 mostly. They wanted to charge them more because of the additional bandwidth that they use. You know, the biggest, at least in North America, the United States, by a huge margin, the biggest bandwidth use is through Netflix and streaming video. It's like 30-40% of all internet bandwidth is Netflix. That might be a little bit high, but it's you know, pretty significant, and that kind of makes sense. And there was a big, you know, Level 3 was like, you know, that's not net neutrality if they're forcing us to pay an additional toll to connect to the Comcast servers and blah, 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 blah. And of course, I talked about Comcast also wanting to buy Time Warner Cable, the two biggest internet service providers and cable companies in the United States. Kind of anti-competitive monopoly-sounding terminology going on there. So, anyway, the recent big news is that now Netflix has struck a deal with Comcast to basically skip that middle service and have a direct peering agreement. Peering, not like peering through a window, but peering, P-E-E-R-I-N-G, like peers, which means, at least through Comcast, you should have faster, more reliable service to Netflix. And I suppose the immediate reaction from a consumer standpoint in the dark might be, yay, that's good. Well, you know, I subscribe to Netflix, I'll have faster Netflix on Comcast. But no. This actually is very disturbing news because it kind of spits in the face of net neutrality. Net neutrality is the construct, the concept, the law, at least it was for a while, that all internet traffic should be treated the same at an ISP level. That means that Comcast, let's say, since they own NBC, Comcast owns NBC, if they wanted to, they could give high speeds to the NBC services, or the NBC.com website, let's say, but then if you want to go to Comedy Central or Fox or CBS, they might slow down or block altogether that. The concept of net neutrality says that no matter what, the kilobytes, the bits and bytes are equal, no matter what the content, no matter what the source. They are equal, and to be equally represented, I suppose, equally delivered is the word I was looking for. So this is it's a lot more complicated than that in terms of the Netflix situation, because Netflix, regardless, was paying these services to handle their high bandwidth. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, hello. And now they're just paying Comcast, but Comcast as the ISP, as the gatekeeper, is a little bit shady. And they're saying it's mutually beneficial agreement. They're not saying any money is changing hands, but you know there's money changing hands. And even more disturbing is that recently there have been news articles showing that both Comcast and Verizon were very obviously throttling Netflix traffic over the past few months. There have been a steep decline in speeds to consumers of Netflix content, also YouTube content. So you kind of wonder, they were in the talks before, and maybe the talks broke down. They didn't reach an agreement, so then Comcast retaliated maybe by slowing down speeds and kind of forced Netflix's hand to pay and come to these agreements. You wonder how these shady behind-the-door dealings go on. And of course, Netflix is still in a little bit of a hubbub against Verizon. Verizon, there's no agreement has been made there. Netflix actually earlier made news by offering ISPs a direct peering connection at no additional cost or no, it's kind of like, we are offering this service. A few smaller ISPs and providers took them up on that, but notoriously the big ones, Comcast, Time Warner, Verizon, basically said, no, you're going to pay us for this direct connection. So that's apparently come through, and it's, it's pretty worrying because, as I said, there has been evidence showing that Comcast, Verizon have also been slowing YouTube content. Woof. Is YouTube going to now have to pay up? Is this going to be the new standard? And this also comes in the light of, like I mentioned before, the FCC chairman is a past lobbyist for the cable companies. They recently overruled the previous FCC. Wasn't necessarily a law, but it was a standard to uphold net neutrality. They flat out, the DC courts overruled that. And so technically right now there are no net neutrality rules. There are kind of, but specifically that's very worrying, and this is all coming in a very suspicious sequence of events, is all I'm trying to say. So it's kind of, okay, is YouTube going to have to pay that toll? As somebody who depends on YouTube, is that going to affect what I take home? Is that going to affect my delivery of my content to you guys? And it kind of then brings up the next line of questioning. Well, what if, okay, Netflix and YouTube, both multi-million and billion-dollar companies, what about the smaller guy? What about the new video service that's just showing up? What about Twitch is getting pretty big, but Twitch in its early days can't pay this new toll to have a faster direct connection to give to their customers. Are they just going to languish and die due to the slower throttled speeds? Big questions being arisen here in internet land, and it's as somebody who, like I said, makes a living on the internet, and I'm sure for you guys, people who consume internet, and this, obviously, okay, Netflix, we're talking YouTube, maybe, it's entertainment, maybe not the greatest of issues at heart, but it does open up, like I said, those additional questions further down the line. Say Comcast supports a legislator who will be passing laws that would benefit their bottom line. Are they going to block or throttle the websites that promote the opposing candidate in politics or an opposing view? It may seem like inconsequential small beans right now, but these snowballs start rolling and we run out of control. And yes, I mean, you see this stuff in Syria and the Ukraine where there are legitimate revolutions taking place and people dying on the streets against their governments and things. And at least here in America, it's not necessarily we're finding the governments that we have to be questioning or looking against. It's the corporations who tend to bankroll our government, and I don't try to get too conspiracy theorist, and I'm definitely not, and I don't want to be negative or anything like that, but yeah, that's just some interesting news out of internet world, and I do actually have quite a few more little notes to talk about. And perhaps in the next episode, and God, I don't want this episode to be all doom and gloom and bad news. We're really looking forward to Flopathon this weekend, and I'm looking forward to you guys coming. But I do have, as the sun sets here, something else to talk about. I rarely, lately anyway, and it's just something that happens when your YouTube channel gets to a size. I've not been very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not open, but just, I don't get too personal with you guys that much anymore. It's a little bit of a defense mechanism, and kind of want to more concentrate on the content and the comedy and friends and the video games and things like that, and the charity, obviously. But I do have a bit of a personal-ish topic to talk about in the morning here. So what I'm actually going to do, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I was gonna build a hidey hole and maybe just talk instead of walking. You know, maybe we can. Yeah, let's make an elevated hidey hole like we normally do. I'll walk for a little bit, but I really kind of want to. Sorry, this is like sounding like horrible, but I just want to get this out of the way so that we can have the next few YouTube Far Lands or Bust episodes to really kind of look forward to and celebrate Flopathon 2014. So let's go to sleep, and we'll get this stuff out of the way and continue to the Far Lands in the morning. And awakeness. And continuing on. How you doing, Wolfie? You need, let me give you a bone. Yeah. Well done. Good job. You're continuing on. Okay. Alright. Real talk now. I'm, a little bit nervous about talking about this, but, it's something that is... I'm not being bothered by it, but some people are asking, and I feel like I need to address, this, Flopathon coming up and whatnot. People have been asking if there's going to be a speedy cam this year, and already I'm sure you can see where this is heading, and I suppose I should just be out with it. Speedy, for those of you who don't know, is my pet box turtle who had a little, instead of face cam, I had speedy cam last year, that I've had since I was 9 years old, over 22 years. And people have been asking, a few people, it's not been annoying, like I said, have been asking if there's going to be speedy cam this year. And I am pretty... I'm very sad to announce, unfortunately, that on Tuesday, January 21st, last month, Speedy died. And it was pretty crappy for me. Like I said, I've had Speedy since I was 9 years old. It was... I mean, she was, I suppose, a little bit selfishly on my own part. Having Speedy for that long, she became kind of part of my personality. It was kind of one of the first questions I would get when seeing extended family is, oh, is your turtle still alive? You've had that turtle for forever, and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, Speedy died on January 21st, was a Tuesday. I remember the day because that was also the day that supernova was discovered in M82, which obviously totally unrelated events, obviously, but it's something that kind of makes me remember that. But I actually, not many people noticed, but I stopped making videos for a few days. I really kind of disappeared for a little bit because, like I said, it was really kind of it caught me definitely off guard. Like I said, I guess I started to take not advantage, but take for granted the fact that, you know, the joke was, oh, these turtles live forever, and I kind of took for granted that she was always there, and so then all of a sudden, she's not. And I know people maybe can easily make more of a emotional connection with a dog or a cat or a different kind of animal like that versus a reptile, but 22 years, since I was 9 years old. That's a hard thing to, you know, you can't replace that. So, yeah, I had some pretty down times there, and honestly, the thing that got me out of it was that Friday is when that New Yorker article came out, so I kind of reached an impasse where I'm like, okay, I either have to get over this and keep making videos and kind of take you know, take up all these new followers that I've been getting from this New Yorker article, or there's going to be some problems. So I suppose that really helped. Not necessarily me to forget or get over losing Speedy, but it kind of helped me get back on the horse. And you know, I didn't mention it right away. It was like I said, I know Speedy was kind of a part of the channel, made some appearances in a video, and then obviously the Speedy cam during Flobathon, but it was more of a personal thing for me, so I felt like kind of dealing with that myself, and I just feel like I have to mention it now to get it out of the way so that people don't keep asking, so I don't have to address it during Flobathon. That would be bad. But yeah, I feel yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know how far I want to really get into this. As it's like I said, I try to keep Far Lands Bust kind of. We're playing video games here. You know, I don't want to get too serious or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, like I said, she died on that Tuesday, and on Thursday, I took her to a place called the Hinsdale Animal Cemetery, which is actually one of the oldest cemeteries in the U.S. This is founded in 1926 or something. Kind of a, you know, a very nice place actually going there. And I had her cremated, and her ashes were to be spread out there on the cemetery grounds, I suppose, among the many other family pets that were lost over the past century, really, which is kind of, you know, a fitting thing, I guess. And it was a bit of a drive for me. It's a little bit west of Chicago is where it's located. But, I mean, I suppose, if anything, I have very little experience. I just, you know, went there for Speedy. But they made, you know, like I said, versus a dog or a cat, or you know, they even take care of, like, horses and things like that. A small box turtle might not seem like the most important of pets to have, but they made it feel as though Speedy was just as important and just as much of a loss as any other family pet loss out there. So if you do live in the Chicago area, I suppose, and you do lose a pet, not that I would hope that upon anybody, but I could recommend the Hinsdale Pet Animal Cemetery if you're looking for a place. But yeah, I suppose I just overall was really bummed out, and I suppose the biggest feeling I had was of guilt, the immediate guilt of failing as kind of a caretaker for Speedy, but kind of an overall guilt for even owning Speedy to begin with, I guess. As a wild animal, you know, I in recent years, in trying to be a much better caretaker, I started to do a lot of ooh, careful Wolfie, careful with that hole. I started to do a lot of research on turtles and taking care of them, and I learned that actually in a lot of states, box turtles, and Speedy specifically was an ornate box turtle, are actually threatened or potentially threatened on the kind of list because of urban sprawl, roads. They're just susceptible to being, you know, they sit on the roads to heat up, to bask in the sun, and obviously that's where cars go, and that causes problems. Human interaction, and also the pet trade has really impacted box turtles in the wild. And in reading about it, in a lot of states, it's actually illegal. Most states, it's actually illegal to capture turtles from the wild for commercial purposes, for sale as pets. One state, the main state, is actually South Carolina, is one of the only states where it is legal to capture turtles for sale as pets. So the majority of turtles you see in pet stores actually come from South Carolina, and they're captured live. They have to be at least, or I'm sorry, they're captured wild. They have to be at least 4 inches long, meaning they're adults. So I'm not sure how the laws have changed over the past 22 years, but I think at some point Speedy was an adult turtle out there in the wild and was captured, you know, put into a crate with dozens of other box turtles that, you know, transported across state lines. Where many of those turtles didn't even survive, you know, that trip, and put through a lot of stress. Of course, at the time, I was 9 years old. I didn't know, and my parents didn't know. There was no internet or really any sort of place where you could look this sort of information up, so I can't blame them or myself at the time. And I'm glad I own Speedy, I suppose I could say, is, you know, if anything, to learn about box turtles, and kind of maybe I could share with you guys, maybe, you know, don't buy a box turtle. Don't buy a wild animal. You know, especially from a pet store. Pet stores should carry pet supplies and pet food, not actual pets, is I think kind of the going theme that people should understand. And I suppose the only way I've really been able to make myself feel okay about the whole thing is maybe, since Speedy, we can say, was captured as an adult, maybe she lived in the wild for 10, 15, maybe even 20 years before being captured. So maybe she had a good half of her life before coming into my home, was lived in the wild, and maybe, I don't know, maybe she even mated and reproduced, and maybe there's some turtles out there in the wilds who carry some of Speedy's genetic information. I don't know if I can get a little bit scientific about it, but yeah, overall made me quite sad, and it was quite tough dropping her off at the animal cemetery and driving home. Kind of, you know, it's weird driving home for the first time in 22 years to a place where Speedy wasn't there. You know, like I said, it's easy to kind of take for granted the sort of things that happen. You know, like having a turtle around, and oh, it's just a constant, and that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, let's have Wolfie sit down. Gonna watch a nice little sunset. Dig in. Yeah, okay. I'm glad I did this. I was originally planning on actually digging a hole and just standing and talking and not moving, but I'm kind of glad. Oops, that's no good. I'm kind of glad we did the normal Farlands Bus thing and we're walking and talking. It's a little bit more usual, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that before Flobathon, because I would kind of, if I can have a little agreement with you guys, I don't really want to talk about it. It's not, like I said, I try to keep this and my channel and my videos a little bit more upbeat, and it is kind of, like I said, a personal thing, for me, at least, to be talking about this and dealing with it, so I've mentioned it, and I appreciate, and I know you guys probably liked Speedy too, and I appreciate that, and, but I would like to not bring it up I'm not going to answer any questions, I'm not going to talk about it during Flobathon or future videos or anything. I just wanted to mention it here to kind of get it on and off the table, and we can continue on. And I guess, you know, the one thing regarding Speedy and this YouTube thing I am thankful for is the only video I have of Speedy was that milestone video where I fed her the worms, and then of course also the footage from the last Farlands Bus livestream is the only video that I have of Speedy. So I'm very I'm very thankful to have that. So All right, yeah. I'm going to head out. Next episode will be much more normal, and we'll be back on track and looking forward to Flabathon. But I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.